has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast.
Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money.
It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
It's Ferrall on the bench, coast to coast, in the biggest way possible. Hanging out the bad seat, the bad apple with a bad attitude, bad out of bad say, bad law, bad do, bad bread, bad attitude, bad vibes. We are live in the Magic City Studios in the Barolo Palatial, right across the river and through the woods from where Granny loves it when there's 70-mile-an-hour winds, as long as she's got some 90s Dutch sativa in New York City. The Big Apple. Ooh. People dressed in plastic bags, directed traffic, some kind of fashion, shake it up, should do and run, party up, rats on the west side, bed bugs uptown, what a mess, tabs and terrible rain splattered all over my head. I'm so hot for her, I'm so hot for her, and she's so cold. Yeah, should do better. Oh, woo, woo. I think I might have caught something from Keith. Oh, woo, woo. Hey, what's gigging? I'm Ferrall, along with your boy Carver High this afternoon. Mafia running it with Luke. I am your father. The birthday is AD 31. Brian Anderson, I thought I saw that, 42. The Bisser, Paul Bissonette, 39 today. Lee Evans, 43. Dan Ugla, 44. Can we get a connectee? 27 there in Philly. I hate the Flyers. Rich Hill, 44. Fred Jones, 45. Elton Brand, 45. Becky Hammond, 47. Sean Springs, 49. Bobby Abreu, 50 with Billy Glanville. Make that a Granville. Tony Veland, whoever that is, 51. And Dan Lacroix, double nickels. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. The NFL legal tampering period has begun today. And I mean to tell you, teams can talk to free agents. Nothing is official until Wednesday, but the deals are flying around the room like spitballs. Falcons sign former Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins, 4 years, $180 million for Kirk Cousins. $100 million of it guaranteed, son. Coming off an Achilles, racking up that one playoff win, and his primetime numbers are devastating, but I got to tell you, this guy he's like a bank robber. He's a bank robber. This guy, he's like robbing trains. I mean, my man, he is $180 million. I can't even do the rest of the show. The Eagles signed Saquon Barkley, 3 years, $37.7 million, $26 million guaranteed. I guess, what is it, around $12.5 million a year, something like that. And the Giants wouldn't give him the money. So now what they're going to do is the Giants have terrible Daniel Jones. They lose their best player. And now they leave it up to their fans to abuse him once a year when he comes to New York. That's what the Giants decided to do. We're just going to let our fans abuse him, and we're going to lose our best player. Genius. Raiders signed former Miami D tackle Christian Williams, 4 years, $110 million, $84.7 million guaranteed. Christ, he's almost a quarterback with those numbers. Titans signed Tony Pollard, 3 years, $24 million. The Bears are getting DeAndre Swift, 3 years, $24 million. Packers are going to sign Josh Jacobs. The Vikings sign Texans pass rusher Jonathan Grenard for 4 years, $76 million. I don't even barely know who that is. I hope I got his name right. Eagles signed Bryce Huff. I know who that is. 3 years, $51 million. Jags signed Gabe Davis to a 3-year, $39 million deal. He caught 3 passes in the last 3 years. What is happening there? My man is invisible. He hasn't done a thing. He really hasn't. And since the Allen game at Arrowhead, the 13-second game, is the last time that guy caught a pass. Rams signed former Lions guard Jonah Jackson to a 3-year, $51 million deal. I would have rather signed Michael Jackson to a 3-year, $51 million deal. It goes on and on and on. The Steelers signed Russell Wilson to a 1-year deal. Carver, I had women on this very show attacking me of my opinions of Russell Wilson, saying that I am jealous of Russell Wilson and that he is a quote-unquote hunk. I had a woman write me and say he's a hunk and you're jealous of him. I have seen it all. Chris Jones, a 5-year deal with the Chiefs, $95 million. T. Higgins says, I want to trade. Baker Mayfield, 3 years, $100 million. He went from being in the outhouse to the penthouse in Tampa. Morency will join us. The Packers released David Bakhtiari because he played in one game in the last 10 years. Honestly, I mean, we tell it like it is on this show, and we're not hunks, apparently. Bills extend Deion Dawkins 3 years, $60.5 million. The Seahawks restructured Tyler Lockett's deal. Mac Jones goes to the Jags to be a backup. Kendrick Bourne stays with the Pats. Kevin Byard with the Bears, a 2-year deal. Bobby Wagner likely leaving the Seahawks. It goes on and on and on. The Jags signed former Bills center Mitch Morse, and you know he's angry at the Bills. He's got to be angry. So now he's going to play in Jacksonville, and he's like, I'll see them in the playoffs. Michael Pittman in Indy, 3 years, $71.5 million. And the rest of them are just not interesting enough to mention. I'm just going to say that. Garrett Cole of the Yankees has to have his elbow checked. This is a dire situation for Carver High and I. The minute I saw Garrett Cole was having an MRI on his elbow, it completely changed my day. And I'm not even talking about Kirk Cousins yet or Russell Wilson. I mean, when I saw Garrett Cole's got an elbow problem, having an MRI on his elbow, you can call it whatever you want. What that is to me is a disaster waiting to happen. And then we also know that Aaron Judge needs a rest. He's saying that he's worn down at spring training. I have seen it all. Buck Showalter joined Scoop Mitch today on Newswire. We'll play that for you today. Juan Soto blasted a home run that just landed in literally New York City from Tampa over the weekend. It flew out like a pigeon. It flew to New York and landed in the Bronx. Tyler Glasnow and Yu Darvin will be the opening pitchers for the Dodgers, Padres, and Seoul next week. Yamamoto and Joe Musgrove will pitch game 2. Yamamoto in his second start got lit up. I mean, like it was a beer league softball game. We got it all for you. Conference tournament week, ACC bracket, Big 10 bracket, Big East, Big 12, Pac-12, SEC. We got it all. College basketball, liabilities, best against the spread, best overs. You get it all. Morehead State gets in the OVC title. Punch that ticket. Stetson Cologne beats Austin Peay. They are in. We got a chick fight. South Carolina and LSU. We'll talk about that. A bunch of games tonight, and I have bet on several of them. Carver High and I'll break it down. Plus, Coach Young will talk rack with us per usual. Davis Lee Roth Maddock from Fantasy Sports Today. We'll talk about all the deals in the NFL and make some picks for tonight. Today in Carver High history going to happen. We got all the NBA news over the weekend, all the NBA games tonight. I believe there's 6 of them. Rick Hara, our sports and business legal insider, will join us in the third hour, plus Adam Kaplan, our NFL insider, in the third hour. From Philadelphia, breaking down all the deals today. We got a lot going on. Hockey. Did you see the overtime game 3-on-3? The Wild pulled their goalie and went 4-on-3 and won the game at home. They needed the points. We'll break down tonight's games all today on Coast to Coast. Go with us. Boston's going to the NBA Finals, and at this point, I'm still willing to say this early that they're the best team in the NBA, even better, in my view, than the Nuggets.
Barkley, for me, I say the front runners would be the Dallas Cowboys and or the Philadelphia Eagles, and I think Jerry might get in on this and say just make it happen and get Saquon on our football team.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Women's basketball, as a coach, as a basketball purist, is so much better to watch than the men. You don't believe me? Sit down, watch it for yourself. Think about the fact that the athleticism is different. So now you have to depend on your fundamental and your skill and not through athleticism.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
That's the brother of the...
Like, that's why it's the NBA.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Ferrall coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Is actually far more dangerous from three on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not one, but two coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage
This
Late
sort of
Night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
With one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Ferrall coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Is actually far more dangerous from three on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not one, but two coaches fired systems in place.
So the open tampering period where you can cut deals with players, it reminds me of the BetMGM people. Like the NFL teams are just giving away money, and so is BetMGM. They just give away money. It's just the most unbelievable thing you've ever seen in your life. So here's their deal. Use the bonus code SG150, and you open a BetMGM mobile app account. All you have to do is go to iOS or Android or BetMGM.com, open up the account with $5, put it in there, boom, you got your account. Place a bet, standard odds, $5 on anything, college hoops, NBA, hockey, whatever. Win or lose, it doesn't matter if you lose. They're still giving you 150 in bonus bets immediately in your account, and you are off and blazing, son. You're like Saquon Barkley rolling out of New York, going to Philadelphia. You will be rolling with your new BetMGM mobile app account. By the way, the SportsGrid app is also fantastic. I turned it on to another 150 people over the weekend. Everywhere I went, I showed people the app. They couldn't believe that you could press live and then the red button that says watch, and you can actually see the network in HD, perfect, right on your phone. If you turn it sideways, it gets even bigger. It's the craziest thing you've ever seen. And then one guy said that you're ugly. And I said, well, then just click this gray button that says listen, and you don't have to look at me. And then he said I was jealous of Russell Wilson and that he thought Russell was a hunk. And then I left the conversation at that point. I got a little disturbed. But get the app. It's free on iOS or Android. You can follow your favorite hosts like Carver High. And you can see everything. Stories, highlights, videos, odds, in-game odds. It has it all, the SportsGrid app. All right, Carver High, what a day. I cannot believe some of these deals. They blew my mind. The money.
A lot of money, Scotty, being thrown around, that's for sure. Happy Monday. Happy legal tampering day in the NFL. Of course, the new league year doesn't technically start until 4 p.m. on Wednesday, but they allow you today to really start putting all these deals together, and there were a lot of them. Let's do the bigger ones first here. Falcons are going to get their new quarterback. They've had quarterback problems for a long time. Kirk Cousins will leave Minnesota 4 years, 180 and $100 million guaranteed for your boy Kirk. And if he completes this deal, Scotty, let's say he plays all 4 years there. I just saw this note. He will have made over $400 million in the National Football League. How about that for a guy 36 years old, and he's only won one playoff game in his life?
It's Billy the Kid. He's been robbing trains forever. I mean, this guy he Brinks trucks, banks, safety deposit boxes. He raids everything. Cat burglar. My man, he's never done anything, and yet he's got more money than God. I mean, it was already bad enough in Minnesota. He was making $40 million clean a year and never won anything. And then now he's going to Atlanta. And what's even funnier to me is, now look, I don't deny the guy can sling it. I don't deny that he can throw the ball. That's all it takes to make a lot of money in the NFL if you're a quarterback nowadays. That's all it takes. If you can sling it, you're going to make a lot of money. And he's got an arm. I won't deny it. But he's got no luck. I'll give you that. He's never gotten anything done except make tons of money. And he's coming off an Achilles. And it really is unbelievable to me. The way they covered it is what was stunning to me. You would have thought they signed Joe Namath. I mean, this guy got the attention today. Like, you would have thought somebody shot the president or something. It was the day Reagan got shot. They stopped the press. I have never seen a guy get more attention that's never done anything in my life. And don't even tell me I'm wrong. He's never won anything. Ever. What do you say?
Never.
You like that. And that made him all that money? I mean, explain how he got all that money. Explain that to me. What has he won besides nothing?
He's won nothing. You're definitely not paying him for his postseason.
I'll give Mahomes that money. I'm not giving him that money.
Does he have some very, very good statistical seasons, regular seasons? Sure, he does. But
what does
like
that
you said,
matter?
At the end of the day, it shouldn't matter anything. This is a team, though. Remember, they're overpaying. They're reaching. They haven't had a good quarterback since Matty Ice was really good. They've drafted all these young offensive pieces the last couple of years, and now they're paying to make sure somebody actually utilizes them well. London, Pitts, Bijan Robinson. So he's got a lot of toys there for him when he's healthy. He is coming off the Achilles injury too.
I won't deny that he can play, and I won't deny that he puts up those numbers. That's great, and his age is what it is, and he's coming off an Achilles. We'll see how guys coming off Achilles do in the NFL, because we got Rodgers, we got Cousins, and we'll see how they do over the term of this deal. This will not be decided in October or November of this year in meaningless games that he always wins. He wins every meaningless game in the world. I'm not even trying to be a smartass right now. It's real simple. Where are the rings? Where is the postseason success? Where is the money? Those are money games. That's Mahomes' time. Guys that win when it matters. Guys that get you to title games. I'm not going to deny Aaron Rodgers got to a bunch of those games. And look, I don't believe in guys, frankly, that come off Achilles are ever the same. Is Clay? Do you think Kobe was as great as he was after the Achilles? No one's ever the same after an Achilles, and particularly when you're 36 or older. That's just all there is to it. Yep. Now, I won't deny Kobe was able to have 81-point games. He's a freak. The guy's a freak. He's just a pure he just can cut you to slices and score on anyone at will any night he wanted. But I don't trust guys that are older that have Achilles tears. That's it.
No doubt.
You're giving that guy $100 million guaranteed. You have no idea if he's going to last or not. But I won't deny he can throw the ball. There you go. Congratulations, Atlanta.
That's what they got. The more big names in new homes. The Giants last year franchise tagged Saquon Barkley. They did not this year. And now he goes down the Jersey Turnpike, Scotty, to the division rival Eagles. 3 years, 37.7, 26 guaranteed. I saw this can get up to like 50 with incentives. But Saquon Barkley gone to Philadelphia.
So he said today, thank you for all the people that loved me and supported me the last 6 years. Thank you for everything. I love you. Let's see what the next chapter brings. So be it. I'll tell you what the next chapter is. Everyone in New York that's a Giants fan is going to turn on him like an ex-wife. I
He's
mean,
not
this
liked
guy,
anymore.
I mean, they're going to hate him he's the Grinch. My man he's what was the guy's name in the Christmas Story? The Scrooge. He's the Scrooge.
Yeah,
he's doomed. He's doomed in New York.
He's finished.
He's doomed. Like in New York, I won't look. Listen, he's a great player. I thought he was their best player, but he goes to the enemy. You go to the enemy. It's almost like he did it to rub it in their face, if you ask me. And you're going to have to live with it. So have fun when you come back to New York. And I'd wear one of them big jackets, and I'd hide in the blue tent because they're going to be throwing stuff at him.
He is not going to get a warm reception when he returns, which he will now every year as a member of the Eagles. He will come back to MetLife to face the Giants. And look, we know the Eagles have beat up the Giants the last couple of years. So now Saquon's going to move over to that side. A lot more money. 4 years, $110 million for Miami's former Miami D tackle Christian Wilkins. Seems like the Raiders always give somebody a lot of money. You want that big bag? You know who to call. Go call the Raiders if you want that big bag. So they're always willing to deal out money. The Raiders.
I think they're going to have a pass rush now with this guy,
right.
Wilkins and Crosby. There's no denying that. If they stay healthy, that pass rush will be insane. But that is just unbelievable money that they gave this guy. Unbelievable. He is going out tonight, and he is having sex and drinking Booth Clicquot all night and partying until 5 a.m. in Miami on South Beach. He's going to party, and he's going to wave goodbye. And then he even gets to say, nice knowing you. I'm moving to Las Vegas to have even more fun.
Introducing Sports Injury Central's new feature, The Injury Edge, your NFL matchup cheat sheet. See all the significant injury mismatches broken down by offense and defense to highlight where the advantages lie. All for only $2.99 a week. How can you even consider making a bet or setting your fantasy lineup without knowing the injury mismatches? Go to sixscore.com today and get this week's Injury Edge.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Laying points on the road in college basketball is an absolute landmine. I would not do it. I won't do it the rest of the year. I'm done doing that because it just consistently loses.
I mean, 3 possessions in a 9-point game in which the opposition now is the clock, not the actual team you're facing, right?
Right.
And these guys are taking up shots. I mean, it's just like, that's why it's the NBA.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Ferrall coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not one, but two coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage
This
Late
sort of
Night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, Morency joins us every day from Vancouver, and he's reeling off of the NFL flurry of cash activity today in the open tampering season. What do you think, Morency?
Well, I managed to somehow lose money today, Scott, with Kirk Cousins signing with Atlanta because I had my guy, J.J. McCarthy, going to the Atlanta Falcons with the 8th pick in the National Football League draft. And my first immediate thought was, well, I knew Kirk Cousins wasn't going back to Minnesota, all right? If they were going to keep him, they would have kept him. Like, it wouldn't have gone this long, obviously.
Right,
so I knew
right.
he wasn't going back to Minnesota. I know they have their eyes on a quarterback. I always thought J.J. McCarthy was the guy. So just quickly, the odds have plummeted for J.J. McCarthy right now to go to Minnesota. It was plus 450, plus 500. Right now, plus 225. So if you're a Minnesota Viking fan, I think it's probably going to be J.J. McCarthy if he's still there at 11. But what a crazy day. I didn't think things would happen this quickly, Scott. Normally things take a little while to play out with these big contracts. But, man, these teams aren't playing around today.
How about Barkley going down to the enemy?
I called it. I called this one. I said he's either going to the Dallas Cowboys or the Philadelphia Eagles. And the Eagles, of course, the Cowboys are caught. I don't know what Jerry's doing right now. Taking a paternity test, I guess. And the Eagles, once again, say what you will about the Philadelphia Eagles, but when they see a player is available, they get him, right? Whether it's
I'm still
A.J.
thinking
Brown.
about the paternity test.
Sorry.
I went right off the road with that one. I was like, that is a great line.
It wasn't bad.
Focus on what you were talking about now.
You like how I just kept going like stone
just
cold?
kept going.
Just like...
I went right off the rails. I went right into the ditch.
I thought after, I was like, maybe I shouldn't have said that, but
No,
yeah,
that
it
was
pretty
a great
good.
line.
It was good.
Of course,
Yeah,
it was
thank you.
great. It was great.
Thank you.
Don't take that back. That was
No,
great.
I won't. But no, of course, like the Cobb, like, you know, you hear certain teams, my Bills are like this. Wow, we just don't have the cap. We just don't have this. Well, the Rams seemed to find the cap room, didn't they, Scott, when they won the Super Bowl? Say what you will about the Eagles. Don't tell me they ain't trying, bro. You know what I mean? Don't tell me they're not trying to win. They're like, don't worry about our cap issues. Just sign them, get them, and we'll worry about this after, right? And I love how these teams operate and just, you know, going to the enemy like that. Like, wow, to the Philadelphia Eagles. What a big middle finger to the New York Giant organization. But let's be real, bro. The Giants get a free pass. Like, the Giants are probably the worst-run organization in the National Football League. Is there, like, seriously? Like, who's worse? Like, think about it, Scott. Like, what team is in worse shape than the New York Giants are right now? I'm being real. No, the Jets. The Jets have Sauce Gardner. They've got Hall. They've got players. They got Garrett Wilson. I don't care about Aaron Rodgers.
And they
whatever.
still
He's gonna
lose.
get hurt. Yeah, I know. But at least they have players. Like, the Jets actually draft well. You know what I mean? The Jets do things well. They have bad luck, and they're the Jets.
Except
the
they
Giants
never
are
win.
the Giants are inept. Like, the Giants are just, like, purely this organization now, the Maras, they're the ones that have the final say with everything, and it's pretty clear they're wrong about everything all the time. So between Jones and Barkley, you end up keeping Jones. Okay. So just like, it's just in hindsight. I get it. Barkley's hurt sometimes. I'm just saying, who would you rather have, Giant fan, right now? Like, you'd all be like, oh, God, thank God Daniel Jones is gone. No, you got Jones for another $37 million, guys, for another year. Saquon's going to be scoring touchdowns on you now for the next 4 or 5 years with the Eagles. This is the same organization. This is the same organization. They could have gotten their own new Lawrence Taylor. I'm not saying that Micah Parsons is Lawrence Taylor. He was there, bro. The Giants had, what, the 10th, 11th pick in the draft? No. The Giants actually made a trade with division rivals to allow the Cowboys to get Micah Parsons and this is the best part of the Giants. The Giants didn't take Micah Parsons because they were concerned about character issues, so they drafted Kadarius Toney instead.
How'd that go?
I could just go on and on and on now. Like Wink Martindale just said, you know what, screw this. I'm going to college. I'm going to coach Michigan. It's going to be fun over there.
It was so bad he left. He went to Ann Arbor.
I don't know about Dable, bro. This guy, they're just running this thing into the ground. But wild day, and your Steelers with Russell Wilson. And I tell you what, I see all the memes and all the pot shots on Twitter and stuff about Russell Wilson. I think it's a good fit, Scott, for the Steelers. He's an upgrade to what you had. I think he's going to be perfect in this offense. Get back to running the ball a little bit more, like you guys always talk about doing every year. You've got Harris. Warren looked good. He can still throw it. And you know what? I don't think Tomlin, unlike Peyton, you know this, Scott. You and I both knew this. Peyton wanted to make him look bad, bro. I'm going to make him do plays he can't do. I'm going to make him look bad so I can tell ownership we got to eat the money. He's that bad. If you look at his numbers, what was it, 26-9?
He was one off of Lamar and TDs.
That's what I'm saying. Now, listen, there's throws he doesn't make that are there that frustrate OCs. It's like, dude, you took too long. It was there. Fine. You're not going to worry about that in Pittsburgh. Hand the ball off, throw it to Pickens every now and then. You guys will be fine. I like the move for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Scott.
Yeah, listen, I've said, things like he's old and his best days are behind him, which is all obvious stuff. But I won't argue with you that he's an upgrade of what they have and what they've looked like with what they've had. It's been embarrassing.
Similar with Kirk Cousins. You can argue about how much money Cousins makes. Fine. They nearly won the division with Desmond Ridder, okay? So Kirk Cousins, just a massive upgrade for the Falcons. But I like the Steelers' move. It buys time for them. It's kind of admitting, listen, Kenny Pickett's not our guy. And,
Do you believe people that said that he is finished there today, that said that Pickett is finished in Pittsburgh?
No,
I don't believe that either.
So.
No,
I don't think
he's
so.
the number 2.
I think they like him enough that, listen, if Russell Wilson gets hurt, it's Kenny Pickett time again. Pickett's never really had a full opportunity, right? He's gotten hurt, but I think they see that he's going to get hurt again in the future. I think Pickett is a backup in the National Football League, and at least this is a short-term fix for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but it keeps them competitive, and it's an upgrade. Listen, they were competing with Mitch Trubisky. They were competing with Mason Rudolph, right? They're competing with these quarterbacks. Russell Wilson's obviously an upgrade to these people.
Where do you think Fields goes now?
Just one thing about Wilson was he wasn't perfect at ever, no. But sometimes you have to separate how much money someone makes and how they're playing. And, listen, did they overpay? Yeah. Seattle fleeced Denver. But it doesn't mean that Russell Wilson is completely terrible. It just means he makes way too much money and all this. But he doesn't anymore. He's not making way too much money anymore. As far as Justin Fields, no one wants him. I'm just being real.
That's crazy, right?
There's no team that's saying, yeah, you know what? Let's make him our guy. They're not.
So what's going to happen to him?
Like you're seeing, dude, like the musical chair, Scott, they're running out here, right? You got the draft coming up now. Where's he going to end up? You know what? This is my prediction for him. He ends up in New England.
In New England with the Patriots, you think?
As a backup or something. Like he's going to end up.
What did you think of their deal with Jones to the Jags?
I'm surprised they got anything more than they got, a 6th-round pick for him?
They should have got a 12-pack of beer for him.
A couple of plastic football tees or something. I don't know, a couple of, Nikes. I hate
could
to
you
be
believe,
so...
Could you
know what I said, Scott, actually, about
money?
Mac Jones? You'll like this about Mac Jones? I said Mac Jones is a perfect fit. I said for the DC Defenders of the United Football League. Yeah. Mac Jones to me should be he should be Fields should sign in the CFL. If I was a CFL team, I'd say, listen, bro, I'm gonna make you a star. You'll be like Warren Moon, man. You'll light it up, bro. They can only pay him $1 million though. Only $1 million.
A lot of money.
Only up to $1 million.
That's it.
Not enough. Yeah, it's not enough. No, they capped it, Scott. They used to go crazy. They signed Doug Flutie. Remember Vince Ferragamo in the old days? It used to be like NFL quarterbacks. but they didn't want to get into bidding wars, so they sort of capped that type of stuff. But I'm just blown away, like I said, about how quickly this stuff is moving. I can't wait to see some of these win totals that you talked about. Wilkins going to the Raiders as well.
Yeah.
Listen, the Raiders had money, and you've got to spend it. Like, there's a cap in the league. They had money. And when you're playing against Justin Herbert and you're playing against Patrick Mahomes, I don't think it's a bad idea to spend money on a defensive line, right? They drafted the kid out of Texas Tech last year. They're just stockpiling talent on the D-line. The Raiders don't suck. They're a quarterback away. Like, Aiden O'Connell, I think they like O'Connell, Scott, but I don't know. They're going to do something in the draft here, but the Raiders are a competitive team. I don't think they're a terrible team with AP as their coach now. They play hard for him.
Well, I think that pass rush with Crosby and Wilkins is going to be, if they're healthy, going to be ferocious.
The only signing I don't like today, because I'm like, oh, I like this, I like that.
Right.
What the hell are the Titans paying $8 million a year to Pollard for?
Yeah, he got a nice deal.
What are you guys, nuts? $8 million a year for any running back? I was like, Saquon's getting 12 or whatever the hell it is.
12 something.
Really? Yeah, and it's like Pollard. Like, Pollard was average last year. He just looked good because he was playing next to Zeke Elliott.
So Saquon went from the tag at 10, they gave him 11, and then he went up to 12 and change in Philly. So you can see how hard it is how they squeeze these running backs and won't pay them.
You know what? The Giants actually offered Saquon $14 million 2 years ago or last year, but he's probably smart that he's not hooked to them right now, and he's in Philadelphia, and he's a chance to win.
He's going to get abused when he comes back to New York. It is just going to be – that's the only reason to watch the game, to see what they do to him. They're nuts. Morency, great stuff. Enjoy the games tonight. A lot of college hoops, NHL, NBA. My man.
I'll post my picks on Twitter. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Women's basketball, as a coach, as a basketball purist, is so much better to watch than the men. You don't believe me? Sit down, watch it for yourself. Think about the fact that the athleticism is different. So now you have to depend on your fundamental and your skill and not your athleticism.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Maybe not a match that we thought would be the most enticing 6 months ago, but Newcastle, they are kind of on the ropes. They looked awful against Blackburn in the FA Cup.
Lamine Yamal's been the stand-up player, a guy that's 16 years old, a guy that was drafted in from La Masia, from the academy. It says a lot, really. It says a lot about the really poor standard of the rest of the players this season.
Pro League Soccer, powered by Marca, only on SportsGrid.
I think Boston's going to the NBA Finals, and at this point, I'm still willing to say this early that they're the best team in the NBA, even better, in my view, than the Nuggets.
Barkley, for me, I say the front runners would be the Dallas Cowboys and or the Philadelphia Eagles, and I think Jerry might get in on this and say just make it happen and get Saquon on our football team.
Ferrall, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It goes on and on, Carver High. We had mentioned the Pollard deal with the Titans, and he's making $8 million per, and he got like a 3-year deal, right?
He did get a 3-year deal. So Pollard leaves Dallas, goes to Tennessee, where he'll be with the Titans 3 for 24. So obviously we knew that Derrick Henry wasn't going to be back in Nashville with the Titans. We're still going to wait and see what happens with him. DeAndre Swift, who was with the Eagles this year, got basically the same deal, Scotty. I'm sure the guarantees are a little bit different, but he goes to the Bears. So DeAndre Swift back in the NFC North, now going to be in Chicago with them. The Raiders lose Josh Jacobs. He goes to Green Bay. Green Bay releases Aaron Jones, who had been there for a while, Scotty. So Aaron Jones out. He'll probably be like all the other Packers, right? You got to get all the old Packers that are friends with Aaron Rodgers at the Jets. So I'm sure Jones and even Bakhtiari, they'll be Jets by the end of the week, I'm sure, because they're friends with Aaron Rodgers.
I think Bakhtiari, you're probably right. He'll get injured on the way to New York at the airport.
Yeah, most likely that will happen. Former Texans pass rusher Jonathan Greenard, 4 years, $76 million there in Mini. The Jets did lose Bryce Huff, who had 10 sacks for them last year. 3 years, $51 million to the Eagles. It's like you and Gabe were just saying, like, where do they find all this money in Philly? So they get Barkley, and they give this guy Huff 3 years at $51 million. It is amazing how Roseman does pull all these deals off.
I think it was, I think I saw, am I wrong, that he's the highest paid undrafted guy ever?
Non-quarterback, yes. The highest paid undrafted player, the biggest contract ever given to an undrafted player who wasn't a quarterback. That's what Huff's deal was today with the Eagles. But that's another guy who was like really good for the Jets. The Jets picked him up. Jets, just amazing that you let him go at that price. The Jaguars signed former Bills wide receiver Gabe Davis. That's 3 for $39. It's been a while since Gabe had a big catch for the Bills. They always have that 4-touchdown game and a loss, the 13-second game. Rams signed former Lions guard Jonah Jackson, 3 years, $51 million. Washington signs a couple guys, and this is, keep an eye on this too, Scotty. They're signing a lot of guys from the Cowboys. Why? Dan Quinn leaves from the Cowboys to Washington and takes some of these guys with him. Former DT Dorrance Armstrong, who was very strong in the middle on that defense for Dallas, he'll be with Quinn in Washington now. And the other side of the line, right in the middle, the center Tyler Biadasz is 3 years, $30 million. I like that, Scotty. Washington taking that interior from the Cowboys and bringing it over there with Quinn.
Well, we'll see if he can make it work. Nothing else has worked there with anybody. Doesn't matter who's coaching and who plays there. It's just a disaster. In fact, when we talked about with Morency, that the Giants are bad, I put the Washington Commanders way ahead of them in terms of being a disaster. And the other thing was the Parsons trade for Dallas was with the Eagles, not the Giants. The Giants traded the pick before that to the Bears, where they took Fields. Right. That was the order of those draft picks. So that was not a Giants-Dallas deal.
It wasn't a Giants-Dallas deal. The Giants, were originally in that vicinity, in that area, and they moved back. And the Bears jumped up, and the Giants took Tony with the 20th or 21st pick, wherever they moved back for. When they made that deal with Chicago a few years back. The Dolphins have lost a few guys. We told you Wilkins before. They also lost another $100 million deal just right now, Scotty. Their guard, Robert Hunt, goes to Carolina. $100 million, 63 guaranteed. So the Dolphins lost two guys who got $100 million somewhere else in the past couple of hours. Now.
I mean, honestly, I am dizzy. What you're telling me.
They just lost that guy, Van Ginkel, who actually made a lot of plays for them on D. The guy Van Ginkel was kind of nuts. He leaves the Dolphins as well, as he is going to sign in Minnesota with the Vikings. He gets $20 million for 2 years. So those ones just came down. Giants signed John Runyon, who was with the Packers, $30 million, 17 guaranteed for him. As they're coming very fast and furious now, Sky. There's a lot. It's been a couple hours in, and they're still just firing in every few moments. A very busy opening day of legal tampering in the NFL. Overnight, I'm sure you woke up this morning to this one, and that was Russ going to the Steelers, as you and Gabe just talked about. 1-year deal. They're only giving him $1 million. Denver's obviously paying him another $38 million on the side from that. I got to tell you, Sky, I think he's going to be the quarterback week 1 for the Steelers. I think it's a bad day for touchdown Kenny. That's what I think that it is.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think that's pretty apparent that he's going to be QB1. It'll be interesting to see how he does. I mean, I don't deny that he put up numbers in Denver. The coach, Peyton, hated him. He just absolutely loathed him, and they didn't get along, so you knew it wasn't going to last. And what's funny for him is that they got to give him $39 million, and what's funny for the Steelers is they only have to pay him $1.2 million, and he'll be their starting quarterback. So that's the deal of the week at the Blue Light Special for the Steelers, paying $1 million for that guy. There's no denying that he can certainly the accolades of his career, and 2 Super Bowls and a ring and 9 Pro Bowls, that he's better than anyone they got. But I think it's strange that people have completely thrown Kenny Pickett in the garbage can. And he's literally there's people saying he's finished in Pittsburgh, done. He'll never play another down. I don't know if I believe that. They have a decision to make in May about him, the 5th-year option. It's real simple. That's what that deal's about. So, but it had nothing to do with them getting Russell Wilson. And I think it speaks volumes that they chose him over Fields. And I think it's amazing that Fields looks as though at this point, certainly today, it doesn't look like he's getting a job anywhere today.
Yeah, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. And, you had the GM, say at the Combine last week, polls, if we're going to get rid of him, we want to do it before free agency opens. So that way we have a home for him and there's somewhere for him to go. And yeah, so much for that. That didn't go very well because he's got nowhere to go at this point. I think the Raiders are a play here. Scotty, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised. I think the Raiders wouldn't be a bad spot for him to go out there. I think that's one of the few chairs that are still left out of there. I know Gabe was talking up Aiden O'Connell. I don't think that they're going to go and start Aiden O'Connell the first week of the season in Las Vegas. I just don't believe that.
Yeah, I don't either.
Think they could make
either.
They'll make a play for Fields, I think.
They've had guys like that before, though. Mariota and
yeah.
I mean, Jimmy G's not a running quarterback. Mariota was.
No.
Mariota would take off running like Fields, but they've had a litany of bad quarterbacks. They're another team, I got to be honest with you, that has made horrific decisions and spent just gigantic amounts of money on players. And the reality is, I've said this to you before, is that the one thing I know about the Raiders is that Mark has only done one thing right in his entire life running that team. He's been under his dad's wing for his entire life, right? And then his dad died, and his dad was a Titan. He was just gargantuan in the NFL. And then the kid never did anything until he moved them to Las Vegas for $6 billion. That was the shrewdest move he could have ever done, and it made the franchise a ton of money. And I think that got his father to stop spinning in his grave watching his son butcher the Raiders because he didn't really, in my opinion, know what he was doing. And a lot of people in circles still believe that he doesn't know what he's doing.
No doubt. I've seen some people also in the last few minutes say that maybe Seattle's an option for Fields as well, up in there. So that one I think is something. Back up Geno, beat Geno out, and be the guy, and then Geno's the backup. I think that there could be something there as well. I don't like him with one of these teams that's going to draft a quarterback high, like the Patriots or Washington, because then, let's say he plays great while you're waiting to play the rookie, and then you're stuck. You got him playing great. You've got this kid you drafted in the top 5. I think that that's a sticky situation. Chiefs gave Chris Jones 5 years, $95 million. He stays there. T. Higgins has told the Bengals that he wants a trade, Scotty. So they franchise tagged him a week ago. He wants out because he doesn't like that they have really not negotiated with him a long-term deal. So T. Higgins doesn't want to play there. That's all fine and good, Scotty, but if they don't want to trade him, they don't have to. That's kind of how things work.
Well, he's going to be, it would appear to me, miserable there then, and disgruntled. He's going to basically be Barkley with the Giants. He was tagged. He was miserable. And so he waited and bided his time and then left. That might be the same situation for Higgins. I would take Higgins in a minute. The problem is he's going to want $25 to, I think, $40 million to play. Like if they're going to give Gabe Davis $39 million, I think Higgins wants at least $25 million per year.
Yeah, you could triple that total Gabe Davis amount if you're talking about getting you'd put that 40 way up there.
I think they could actually make a good trade and get something for him.
There'll be teams interested if they actually wanted to explore that. There'll be teams that would be looking to do that. We mentioned Bakhtiari out. He's played like 2 games in the last 3 years. Bills gave Deion Dawkins a ton of money, extension 3 years, $60 million. Seahawks restructured Tyler Lockett. You said Mac Jones was traded to the Jags for a 6th-round pick. Pats brought back Kendrick Bourne. You talked to him at the Super Bowl, 3 years, $33. The Bears signed Kevin Byard, 2-year deal. Bobby Wagner leaving the Seahawks. Eric Armstead from the 49ers. They were trying to restructure his deal, Scotty. He's been a big part of that defensive line. Apparently, he wasn't budging on that. So now the Niners are going to chop him and release him between now and Wednesday. So that'll be another defensive lineman that'll be out there on the market.
Spend their money on Ayuk. They don't need that guy at all. Let's just face facts. They can't lose Ayuk or they're going to have egg on their face.
Jags signed Mitch Morse after the Bills released him last week, 2-year deal. The Colts franchised Pittman a week ago. Now they signed him 3 years, $71.5 million for him. They also gave Zaire Franklin a 3-year extension. Eagles also signed Landon Dickerson, their guard, 4 years, $84 million. Eagles have spent a lot of money today. Fletcher Cox will retire. He announced that over the weekend. The Bucs re-signed kicker Chase McLaughlin, 3-year deal. So that's what's up to the minute, Scotty, and I'm sure there'll be some more stuff.
Yes. Of the Baker Mayfield money?
Oh, Baker as well. Yes, $100 million for Baker. I thought it was smart. I don't know if he gets that. I think Warren, our boy Warren Sharp, tweeted about this earlier. I mean, him making the playoffs was huge for him and winning a game. He got himself a lot of money, big deal off of doing that. And they kept everyone together, him, Evans, so they can continue to build there in Tampa.
Look at his career when he went, Cleveland and then the Rams, had a couple of good games, goes to Tampa, has an incredible season, and then hits the jackpot.
Yep.
women's basketball, as a coach, as a basketball purist, is so much better to watch than the men. You don't believe me? Sit down, watch it for yourself. Think about the fact that the athleticism is different. So now you have to depend on your fundamental and your skill and not your athleticism.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Maybe not a match that we thought would be the most enticing 6 months ago, but Newcastle, they are kind of on the ropes. They looked awful against Blackburn in the FA Cup.
Lamine Yamal's been the stand-up player, you know, a guy that's 16 years old, a guy that was drafted in from La Masia, from the academy. It says a lot, really. It says a lot about the really poor standard of the rest of the players this season.
Pro League Soccer powered by Marca, only on SportsGrid.
I think Boston's going to the NBA Finals, and at this point, I'm still willing to say this early that they're the best team in the NBA, even better, in my view, than the Nuggets.
Barkley, for me, I say the front runners would be the Dallas Cowboys and or the Philadelphia Eagles, and I think Jerry might get in on this and say just make it happen and get Saquon on our football team.
Ferrall coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
All right, how about Buck Showalter joining Scoop Mish today on Newswire? Let's roll that.
Will you manage again, Buck, in the big leagues if offered? You still have that itch?
That's not up to me. I'm at peace either way, and I hope nobody gets fired. I am not coveting somebody's job, and I hope everybody has a good season. It's just life's too short. I see these guys clamoring over other people's jobs who certainly have them. I'm not going to be a part of that.
There you go.
He didn't say he wouldn't, but he did say he wouldn't. Now, he said he wouldn't clamor for anyone's job, but when Craig asked him, do you want to manage again, he didn't say no. He just said he's not trying to take anyone's job right now. If somebody banged on his door, he certainly didn't sound like he would say no if that came across. That was interesting.
He's made a lot of money managing. He doesn't need to do anything.
He really doesn't. You're right about that. I'll save the rest. I have a couple Yankee things for you. We'll just open the next hour with them. I'll finish with this hour. The Bears have bought all that land out in the suburbs to build a new stadium. It looks like that's not going to happen now. They're going to build the new stadium in the city right by where Soldier Field is. So no more Arlington Park suburbs for the Bears to build their new stadium.
I don't know how many times we've had this conversation. I told you back in the day, I used to go to Soldier Field as a kid. It was a great football stadium, open-aired, right off of Lake Michigan. The wind would whip through there and literally turn teams into icicles like Buffalo. It affected everything, passing, running, kicking. They won games because of it. They won a Super Bowl because of it. They were dominant in '85 playing in that stadium. They ruined that stadium when they turned it into a spaceship. And the thought of moving it out to Arlington Heights is laughable to me when you have a city as great as Chicago, which is where they should play, right where they're going to build that stadium in the south parking lot from where Soldier Field is now. Hopefully they'll get it right. You said they're going to put a roof on it, and they should because it's freezing ass there.